If you want to understand the boundaries of the universe, you must think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. You can support me by liking and subscribing for more content. The tower that could have changed everything. Imagine a world where electricity flows through the air like invisible rivers, where every home, every factory, every corner of the earth receives unlimited power without a single wire. Imagine communication that spans continents in milliseconds, where human voices and thoughts travel through the planet's own electromagnetic heartbeat. This wasn't science fiction. This was Tesla's vision. And Wardenclyffe Tower was meant to be humanity's gateway to that impossible world. Standing 187 feet tall on Long Island's shores, crowned with a magnificent copper dome that gleamed like a metallic sun, Wardenclyffe wasn't just a tower, it was humanity's first attempt to tap into the planet's own electrical nervous system. But this monument to human ambition would become something else entirely. A symbol of how the world's greatest minds can be crushed by the narrow vision of those who value profit over progress. What if I told you that in 1901, one man came closer to solving humanity's energy crisis than we have in the century that followed? What if the key to unlimited free energy for all mankind was built, tested, and then deliberately destroyed by the very forces that profit from scarcity? This is the story of Wardenclyffe Tower, Tesla's greatest triumph and his most heartbreaking defeat. The conception of the impossible. To understand Wardenclyffe, we must first journey into the mind of the man who conceived it. Tesla didn't see electricity the way other inventors did. While Edison focused on harnessing electricity through wires and mechanical systems, Tesla perceived something far grander. A living, breathing energy field that surrounded and permeated everything in existence. Tesla's understanding came from a profound realization that struck him during his walks in Budapest City Park in 1882. As he watched the sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors, he suddenly understood that the Earth itself was a gigantic electrical conductor, charged and ready to transmit power to anyone who knew how to tap into its natural resonance. This wasn't merely an intellectual breakthrough, it was almost mystical in its implications. Tesla realized that every step he took, every breath he drew, connected him to an infinite reservoir of energy that flowed beneath his feet and above his head. The Earth wasn't just a planet, it was a massive electrical machine, and Tesla believed he had discovered its operating manual. The science behind Tesla's vision was as elegant as it was revolutionary. He understood that the Earth's surface carries a negative electrical charge, while the atmosphere above holds a positive charge. This creates a natural electrical field, what we now call the Earth's electric field, that contains more energy than humanity has ever used in its entire history. But here's where Tesla's genius transcended ordinary scientific thinking. He didn't just want to observe this field, he wanted to make it resonate. Just as a tuning fork can make another tuning fork vibrate at the same frequency, Tesla believed he could make the entire planet ring like a bell with electrical energy. Wardenclyffe Tower was designed to be that cosmic tuning fork, a device that could send electrical pulses deep into the Earth and then capture the resulting resonance to power the entire world. The partnership with destiny. In 1899, Tesla had tested his theories at his experimental station in Colorado Springs, creating artificial lightning bolts that could be seen from miles away and demonstrating wireless power transmission that lit bulbs without any connecting wires. The experiments proved his theories were sound, but they also revealed the enormous scale of equipment needed to make his dream a reality. Tesla needed a patron, someone with both the vision to understand his work and the resources to fund it. That patron appeared in the form of J.P. Morgan, one of America's most powerful financiers. But this partnership would prove to be both Tesla's greatest opportunity and his ultimate downfall. Morgan initially agreed to fund Tesla's World Wireless System with a $150,000 investment, equivalent to over $4 million today. But there was a crucial misunderstanding from the very beginning. Morgan believed he was funding a wireless communication system that could compete with Marconi's radio technology. Tesla, however, had something far more ambitious in mind. What Tesla didn't fully explain to Morgan was that Wardenclyffe wasn't just intended to send messages. It was designed to transmit unlimited electrical power to any point on Earth, making every other power generation and distribution system obsolete overnight. Can you imagine Morgan's reaction when he discovered that Tesla intended to give away for free the very commodity that formed the foundation of his industrial empire? The man who controlled much of America's electrical infrastructure was being asked to fund a technology that would make that infrastructure worthless. But by then, construction of Wardenclyffe had already begun, and Tesla was too deep in his vision to turn back. The Cathedral of Energy. The Wardenclyffe Tower that rose from the Long Island landscape between 1901 and 1902 was unlike anything the world had ever seen. This wasn't just an engineering project. It was architecture on a cosmic scale, designed to harmonize with the fundamental frequencies of the Earth itself. The tower's foundation extended 120 feet deep into the ground, deeper than the tower was tall, creating a massive grounding system that could channel the Earth's electrical currents. Tesla described this underground network as the tower's roots, comparing Wardenclyffe to a giant tree that drew its life force from the soil beneath and radiated that energy into the atmosphere above. The tower itself was constructed using a revolutionary design that incorporated Tesla's understanding of resonant frequencies. Every beam, every joint, every surface was calculated to vibrate in harmony with the Earth's natural electrical rhythm. The structure wasn't just built, it was tuned, like a massive musical instrument designed to play the planet's own electromagnetic song. At the tower's apex sat the crown jewel, a magnificent copper dome 68 feet in diameter, that gleamed like a miniature sun against the sky. This dome wasn't merely decorative, it was a precisely engineered electrode designed to interact with the electrical charge of the atmosphere. Tesla called it his magnifying transmitter, a device that could amplify the Earth's natural electrical resonance and broadcast it across the globe. But the most remarkable aspect of Wardenclyffe was what lay beneath the ground. Tesla had constructed an elaborate system of tunnels and chambers that extended in all directions from the tower's base, creating what he described as an underground cathedral of energy. These chambers were lined with copper and connected to the tower through a complex network of electrical pathways that allowed the entire structure to function as a single, enormous electrical instrument. The symbolic significance wasn't lost on Tesla. He saw Wardenclyffe as humanity's first temple to the universal energy that connects all life, a sacred space where science and spirituality merged in service to all mankind. The music of the spheres. Tesla's vision for Wardenclyffe went far beyond simple power transmission. He understood that if he could make the Earth itself resonate at specific frequencies, he could create a global communication and power network that operated on principles entirely different from anything that existed. The concept was breathtaking in its scope. Tesla envisioned a world where every person could carry a small receiving device, no larger than a watch, that would automatically tune into the Earth's electrical field and draw unlimited power from it. No power plants, no transmission lines, no monthly electricity bills. Just pure, clean energy flowing directly from the planet to anyone who needed it. But Wardenclyffe's communication capabilities were even more revolutionary. Tesla planned to use the Earth's natural electrical resonance to carry not just simple messages, but complex information including images, sounds, and even what he called thought patterns. He believed that by modulating the planet's electrical field at precisely the right frequencies, he could create a global nervous system that would allow instant communication between any 2 points on Earth. This wasn't fantasy. Tesla had already demonstrated the basic principles during his Colorado Springs experiments. He had successfully transmitted both power and information wirelessly over considerable distances, proving that the Earth could indeed be used as a giant conductor for electromagnetic energy. The frequencies Tesla planned to use were based on what he called the Schumann resonances, naturally occurring electromagnetic waves that circle the Earth between its surface and the ionosphere. These frequencies, typically around 7.83 Hz, represent the planet's own electrical heartbeat, and Tesla believed that by harmonizing with these natural rhythms, his system would work in perfect balance with the Earth's existing electromagnetic field. Modern science has confirmed that Tesla was absolutely correct about these resonances, and today they're recognized as fundamental aspects of our planet's electromagnetic environment. What Tesla proposed was essentially using the entire Earth as a radio antenna, an idea so far ahead of its time that even today, we're only beginning to understand its full implications. The forces of opposition. As Wardenclyffe neared completion in 1903, the true nature of Tesla's project became impossible to hide. Word spread through financial and industrial circles that the eccentric inventor was building a device that could make electrical power free for everyone on Earth. The reaction was swift and devastating. The industrial barons who had built their fortunes on controlling energy resources realized that Tesla's success would mean the complete destruction of their business models. Why would anyone pay for electricity if they could receive unlimited power directly from the Earth itself? J.P. Morgan, who controlled much of America's electrical infrastructure through his investments in Edison's companies, suddenly found himself in an impossible position. He had funded a technology that threatened to make his own investments worthless. The very success of Wardenclyffe would mean financial ruin for the empire he had spent decades building. But the opposition went deeper than simple economics. Tesla's vision represented a fundamental challenge to the entire structure of industrial society. A world with free energy would be a world where the traditional sources of power, both electrical and political, would become obsolete. The existing electrical industry launched a coordinated campaign to discredit Tesla's work, spreading rumors that Wardenclyffe was dangerous, impractical, or simply the fantasy of a mad scientist. They pointed to Tesla's more eccentric claims. His belief that he could communicate with Mars, his theories about death rays, as evidence that his entire project was delusional. More importantly, they worked behind the scenes to cut off Tesla's funding. Morgan not only refused to provide additional investment but also used his influence to prevent other financiers from supporting the project. One by one, Tesla's potential backers disappeared, frightened away by whispers that association with Wardenclyffe would mean economic suicide. The message was clear. Innovations that threatened the existing power structure would not be tolerated, no matter how beneficial they might be for humanity. The silence of the tower. By 1906, Tesla could no longer afford to maintain Wardenclyffe. The tower that had been designed to ring with the music of the spheres fell silent, its copper dome tarnishing under the salt air of Long Island while its underground chambers filled with water and debris. Tesla made desperate attempts to save his project, offering to sell Wardenclyffe to the U.S. government for use as a military communication system during World War I. He even suggested that the tower could be used to create an impenetrable defensive shield around the entire continent by generating controlled electromagnetic pulses that would disable enemy aircraft and ships. But the government, influenced by the same industrial interests that had killed Tesla's funding, showed no interest in acquiring a technology that could undermine the profitable military-industrial complex that was just beginning to emerge. In 1917, the Wardenclyffe Tower was demolished, its metal sold for scrap to help pay Tesla's mounting debts. The man who had once illuminated the World's Fair with his electrical displays watched helplessly as his greatest creation was reduced to rubble and twisted metal. But perhaps the most tragic aspect of Wardenclyffe's destruction was what it represented for humanity's future. Tesla believed that free energy and instant global communication would usher in an era of unprecedented peace and prosperity. Without the need to compete for energy resources, he reasoned, the primary cause of warfare would disappear. Instead of a world united by shared access to unlimited energy, we got a century of conflicts often centered around control of oil, coal, and other energy resources. The very wars Tesla thought his invention could prevent became more deadly and destructive than ever before. The underground legacy. Although Wardenclyffe Tower was destroyed, Tesla's vision didn't die with it. The principles he discovered, that the Earth could be used as an electrical conductor, that energy could be transmitted wirelessly through natural resonance, that global communication was possible using the planet's own electromagnetic field, continued to influence inventors and scientists around the world. Modern GPS systems, cell phone networks, and satellite communications all rely on principles that Tesla pioneered during his Wardenclyffe experiments. The Internet itself can be seen as a primitive version of Tesla's world wireless system, connecting the globe through electromagnetic signals just as Tesla envisioned, though using artificial networks rather than the Earth's natural electrical field. But the most intriguing legacy of Wardenclyffe lies in the underground chambers that Tesla constructed beneath the tower. Even after the tower was demolished, these chambers remained, sealed and forgotten beneath the Long Island soil. In recent decades, researchers have discovered that the electromagnetic effects Tesla created in these chambers didn't simply disappear when the project ended. The Earth's electrical field in the area around the former Wardenclyffe site continues to show unusual characteristics that scientists are only beginning to understand. Some researchers believe that Tesla's experiments created permanent changes in the local electromagnetic environment, a kind of electromagnetic scar that persists nearly a century after the tower fell silent. Others suggest that the underground chambers, with their copper-lined walls and precisely calculated dimensions, continue to resonate with the Earth's electrical field, creating a subtle but detectable enhancement to the area's natural electromagnetic properties. What if Tesla's greatest experiment never really ended? What if the Wardenclyffe site continues to demonstrate the principles he discovered, waiting for a generation of scientists brave enough to pick up where he left off? The modern Renaissance. Today, as humanity faces an unprecedented energy crisis and the environmental consequences of our dependence on fossil fuels, Tesla's vision of clean, unlimited energy transmitted wirelessly around the globe seems less like fantasy and more like necessity. Modern research into wireless power transmission has validated many of Tesla's basic insights. Scientists have successfully transmitted power wirelessly over considerable distances using precisely the resonant frequency principles that Tesla pioneered. Companies like Wardenclyffe and PowerCast are developing commercial applications for wireless power that would have seemed magical to Tesla's contemporaries. Even more remarkably, researchers have begun to seriously investigate Tesla's idea of using the Earth itself as a power transmission medium. Projects like the HARP facility in Alaska deliberately heat portions of the ionosphere to study how electromagnetic energy interacts with the planet's atmosphere. Experiments that parallel Tesla's work at Wardenclyffe in fascinating ways. But perhaps the most significant vindication of Tesla's vision lies in our growing understanding of the Earth's electrical system. Modern atmospheric science has confirmed that our planet generates and maintains a complex electrical field that contains enormous amounts of energy. Lightning alone represents the discharge of electrical potentials that dwarf human energy production, and this energy is continuously replenished by solar radiation and atmospheric processes. Tesla was absolutely correct. The Earth is a gigantic electrical machine, and we've barely begun to learn how to work with it. The tower that lives and dreams. Wardenclyffe Tower exists now primarily in the realm of human imagination, but that may be where it has always belonged. Tesla understood that every great technological achievement begins as a dream, a vision of what could be possible if we had the courage to think beyond the limitations of what already exists. The tower that once stood on Long Island represented more than just a technological experiment. It embodied humanity's eternal aspiration to transcend the boundaries that separate us from each other and from the infinite energy that surrounds us. Tesla's vision of a world connected by invisible streams of energy, where distance becomes irrelevant and scarcity becomes obsolete, continues to inspire new generations of inventors and dreamers. Every wireless device, every solar panel, every wind turbine carries within it a spark of the same vision that drove Tesla to build his impossible tower. But Wardenclyffe's greatest legacy may be the reminder it provides that the most important innovations are often the ones that threaten existing power structures. Tesla's tower was destroyed not because it didn't work, but because it worked too well, because it promised to give away for free what others wanted to sell. Today, as we stand on the brink of new energy technologies that could transform human civilization, we would do well to remember the lesson of Wardenclyffe. The greatest obstacle to human progress is often not technical limitation, but the resistance of those who profit from maintaining the status quo. The tower may be gone, but the dream it represented lives on in every person who believes that technology should serve humanity rather than enslaving it, and that the universe's infinite energy belongs not to corporations or governments, but to all of us. Tesla knew that if we want to understand the boundaries of the universe, we must think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Wardenclyffe Tower was his attempt to teach that lesson to the world. The question is, are we finally ready to learn?